What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Point North podcast. My name is Whoopsyou, and thank you very much for joining us tonight, evening, morning, whenever you guys are tuning into this podcast. I'd like to thank you guys very, very much for doing so. Before we get started, I'd like to give a little introduction about myself. Like I said, my name is Whoopsyou. I'm a former semi-pro professional football player. I know I just said pro and professional at the same exact time, but whatever, we're going to roll with it. Played semi-pro football for about 6 years. I also played a little bit of Modern Warfare 2 Call of Duty professionally as well. Only a couple of matches, but I used to join a lot of the scrim matches as well. I've been an avid gamer my whole entire life. I've been basically trying to break through on the scene into the professional level, and this is why this podcast this is why I like the podcast, because it's kind of shedding light on the esports scene. It's kind of taking you through the pro player's journey of start and kind of where they are now. So I'd like to welcome my next guest into this podcast. My next guest is a Rocket League player for St. Clair College. They are the St. Clair Saints, and they are out of Windsor, Ontario, Canada. He's also a pro player for the Parabellum Esports team as well. And not to mention, this man has tweeted the exact same tweet 161 days in a row. I'd like to welcome my next guest, Comp. Comp, how are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing good, Whoops. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem at all, man. Thanks for being here. I really do appreciate you lending what little time you have. I know you're in the middle of a big move right now. Also taking away from some of your coaching sessions and your practice sessions and things of that nature. I know you're a busy man as well.
Yeah.
My apologies.
It's been a lot going on with CRL, and yeah, we've been practicing hard, trying to get those wins, you know.
Yeah, 100%. Not to get too much into where you are right now in college Rocket League or anything of that nature, but let's take it back to the beginning. Young Comp, basically playing Rocket League for the first time. Where did it all start? Where was the love and passion? Where did it all come from?
I've always been a competitive person in life, so whether that be with sports, gaming, whatever it be, that's really took my competitive drive into different types of games. So it started off with competitive CSGO,
okay,
and then Rocket League came out in July of 2015. And that really got me into the scene, and I just loved the idea of having soccer with cars, and that's the big thing that I got into was soccer.
Yeah. So, I mean, did you start gaming with CSGO, or was kind of your first game that you started playing?
My first game, I would say, is Pokemon on the Game Boy, I would say.
Which version? So, I'm gonna test your knowledge right now. Which version was it?
Red.
Because I'm a red. Okay, nice,
yeah.
Nice. I was gonna say I'm an OG Pokemon fan. I mean, I used to play OG, triple OG. I used to have the gray Game Boy. So I'm an OG, triple OG. A little bit older than you, Comp. How old are you right now?
I'm currently 20. Just turned 20 last month.
Young gun, man. I love it. You still have a long way to go, especially in your career as well, man. I love it. Love to see it. You're kind of at that right age right now, trying to break into the scene with Rocket League, and you're doing the right things right now. So was Rocket League the first kind of competitive game that you started with, or?
I would say CSGO was. I did a lot of ESCA and Face It when that was a thing. And that's what I think gave me a good edge going into Rocket League, because it helped me build the mentality and the competitiveness to go into Rocket League esports. So when I first started playing Rocket League, I was still playing CSGO competitively. So I was just introducing myself to Rocket League casually.
Okay.
And once I started getting used to it and everything, I decided I wanted to quit CSGO and then take Rocket League more seriously.
And what made you want to do that? Because Rocket League is a very hard game. I mean, CSGO is too, but in my personal opinion, Rocket League is one of the hardest games out there on the scene. It takes so much skill, so much game knowledge, just sheer amount of rotations as far as knowing the map and knowing the field, boost pads, things of that nature. So what kind of made you want to I'm good enough to start playing Rocket League, and I think I'm good enough to start playing competitively?
Yeah, for sure. I totally agree with you on that aspect of that. It's actually one of the most 100% skill games out there, or 99.9%, because there isn't too much RNG involved with certain games. Say CSGO, you might have some different types of RNGs or shooters. That's what I loved about Rocket League, and that's what I think got me into it over CSGO was you actually had to put in hours to learn the smallest thing, the smallest type of movement in game. You actually had to put hours upon hours upon hours into learning, just like how you're trying to perfect something in real life, whether it be a different type of sport, your career, or anything like that. So I guess that's what gave me a big edge over CS:GO into transitioning over to Rocket League competitively, is because just the grind the game takes to get good at it
Yeah,
is
100%.
more rewarding, I would
Uh,
say.
how many hours did you have in the game before you started taking it more serious, like up a notch?
I would say probably like 500 to 600 hours.
And then you said to yourself, I'm gonna try to pursue this dream of being a Rocket League professional.
Yeah, 100%.
So
So
how many
currently
hours
at
do you?
8,000.
I was gonna say how many hours do you have now? Wow,
Yeah,
8,000.
8,000. Yeah, that's that's how many days is that? That's too much math right
Somebody
now.
do the
That's too
math
much
real
math.
quick. That is
Yeah, so
insane. Oh my god. I
it's
think
a lot of days.
I think I probably have like 1,000 hours in the Rocket League right now. I've probably been playing for 2 years, so I consider myself just like a casual player. And I
Yeah.
would say probably 200 to 300 hours is probably me just Rocket League casting. So I mean, I'm nowhere near. I thought I had like no life, but dude, 8,000. I'm not trying to say you have no life by any means, but like because you're on your grind, you know what I mean. But
Yeah.
8,000 hours, that's insane, dude. That's a hell of an achievement. But oh my goodness. So yeah, you started taking Rocket. Somebody in chat said 333.33 days. I'm not
That's
sure
almost
if that's
a year.
I'm
We're
not
almost
sure.
we're almost to a year. Oh my god.
Oh my goodness!
That's
And you said you
crazy.
started playing back in 2015 for Rocket League.
Yeah, 2015 of July.
I mean, so that's not too bad. So that's like what, 6 years?
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah,
That's
that's not too bad. I mean, you only have a year of gameplay into the game, so I mean, I don't
that's
know.
that's crazy though. That's
It's
actually a lot to think of.
it really is.
Imagine just sitting down straight for a full year, just playing a game, just sitting down for a full year straight, not getting up. You can't do that.
I mean, that's not what you did though. You didn't sit down for a full
Yeah,
year.
no,
This has
of
just
course,
been the
of
whole
course,
Rocket
yeah,
League career. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Yeah, that's nuts, dude. I mean, it's still crazy, but I remember like having like 60, 70 days played like on Modern Warfare 2, like when I was really grinding and stuff. We used to do like game battles, and I heard you mention like you know what'd you say for CS:GO, the competitive
ESEA and Face It. So those
Face
were the
It,
big
that's
things
what the
back
one
then.
was. Yeah, I remember
Yeah,
that too. So I'm just playing game battles and stuff for Call of Duty and just sitting there. I think I had like a total of like 70 days played on that game. So I mean, I appreciate your grind, dude. That's insane.
yeah. And back then you think that's like so much, and then now I look at it and I have 333 days in Rocket League. I'm like, oh my god. I look at 10 hours, 100 hours on a game, and I'm like, oh, that's nothing. Even though that's a lot to a lot of people.
Do you think it's a waste of time, or you think things are going in the right direction for
No,
you?
no, I think I'm glad. I wouldn't change a thing. I would not
Exactly.
change a thing.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of like kind of why I like this podcast, because we bring in so many professionals into this podcast, and we have such a bad stigma, when it comes to gaming and stuff like that. Like if you tell somebody, hey, I've been sitting down playing Rocket League for a year straight of my life, then you're gonna kind of get that like oh my god, get a life, go outside, touch some grass type thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like you're on the grind, you're on the hunt, and you're doing things right, like I said before. So it's like all this stuff is paying out for you. And think about how many hours people are literally spending at their jobs doing something that they hate when you're sitting here doing something that you love.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. That's my big thing in life. I want to pursue something that I love, and I don't want to regret anything that I do and just be bored all of my life, because you only have one life, right?
Yeah, exactly,
Make the most
man.
of it.
Yeah, I always tell that to people too, especially when I end my streams. I always have this saying, never lose your dinosaur, which means to me, I mean, I stole it from Step Brothers. Let's be real, okay? But it resonated with me. It really did. It resonated with me. So it was like, I kind of took that from there, because it was like the guy was like, I want to be a dinosaur, and it was just like, dude, then be a dinosaur in life. If that's what you want to do and that makes you happy, and you're making enough money to get yourself by doing that, then do it. Because money's not everything. So if you're doing something that you love, then just do it. So that's why I kind of always end my stream with that kind of with that saying. No matter how crazy people think you are, the 1 year in Rocket League, no matter how Grandma's Judy's gonna sit there and judge you at Thanksgiving because you're sitting there playing Rocket League for a year of your life or whatever.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, because ultimately it's your life, like you said, bro. You want to do things your way. So
yeah, for sure.
So let's get back on track here. What's your role in Rocket League? Let me kind of back up real quick. So you started playing Rocket League. What was your first step? Like, how did you start getting into the competitive scene?
It started off with something called six men. So what you do is you have six people going into a Discord and you type !Q,
Uh
and then
huh.
you all queue up into a team, and it randomizes your team. So it's 3v3 and it's all randomized, and that's how people start getting noticed in the scene, and that's how is your best way to improve. So that's what I started off with.
Mm-hmm.
And while doing that, if you do really good, you start to find teammates and people that want to do tournaments with you, and that's how you find the competitive experience, and that's how you start into it.
Yeah, I know a lot of players that actually start with the six man's thing. I think that six man server really kind of helps a lot of people kind of break through. But at the same time, the Rocket League six man's community kind of gives you like a negative stigma as well. Do you kind of
Yeah,
agree
for
with
sure.
that?
Yeah. It's something you're gonna have to battle past. And what's good with that is it also builds your mentality. So not only does it have the factor of the actual in-game aspect, but also the mental aspect. If you're
Okay.
able to take that negativity and turn it into something positive, and sometimes if people are being negative, you look back and you're like, "Am I actually doing something wrong?" Like, and you realize, and okay, maybe I am, but they're just not saying it in a good way, and then you look back at that.
I mean, just Rocket League in general has a tendency to kind of have this negative stigma to it when it comes to toxicity. Do you kind of agree with that or disagree with it? And how would you kind of change that toxicity level, not only in six mans but just Rocket League in general?
Yeah, I would say there's a decent amount of toxicity, but there is also a lot of like super positive people in the scene as well. A way to change it would just be, I think, as people get older, because Rocket League's a very like younger game, so like a lot of young people play it.
Mm-hmm.
A big thing to change is as people get older, they'll start to realize and mature, and that's how it'll start to change. I don't think there is any way to actually change it other than just time.
I got you. I mean, I kind of
Yeah.
agree with you on that one. At the same, when you, the more you get older, the more you kind of think like, hey, my actions kind of have consequences. The things I say kind of have an effect on people, especially mentally. So
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of things everybody kind of talks about the toxic Call of Duty lobbies back in the day. I lived through that era. There was just so many yelling and explicit things that were said that we're not going to repeat on this stream by any means for
Yeah.
good reason. But I mean, you kind of you get tougher skin with that, and you kind of realize that hey, maybe I shouldn't say this stuff. And I started being more positive, especially in my life after going through that, and not only that, but kind of playing Rocket League and something as simple as what a save can kind of trigger you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, for sure, for sure. There's a lot
but
of things that can trigger you in this game, even just getting demoed, right? A lot of people get upset about that.
and just for layman's terms, demo is demolition when somebody blows up your car in Rocket League. So it's kind of like a similar to hockey, like when you're checking somebody in hockey, and it's kind of taking you out of the play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, so you went from six mans. What was your next step after that?
Starting into the RLCS scene. So what they had back then was called RLRS, which was called the Rival Series. It was a step down from the RLCS, the big pro league.
Okay.
They did play-ins for it, so you would have four different qualifiers, and 32 teams from each qualifier would make it into the play-in. So the
Okay.
play-in would be 128 teams. However well you did in that would put your name more out there. So if you did really well in that, you'd get more tryout opportunities for the next season.
Okay.
But the problem with the rival series is they're all like 8 months apart. So there's a huge span to get a team and to try out with people. And the big problem with that was a lot of teams did not want to really try out people early. They all just went off and did their own thing,
Yeah.
other than the teams that were already in the leagues.
Yeah.
So they'd wait till like a month before to start trying people out. So there's only like smaller tournaments in between and all that fun stuff.
So it's best to kind of get your team and the players that you're playing with and kind of prepare for that rival series is what you're trying to say, and kind of playing
Yeah.
these little tournaments to kind of test your guys' skill, see what you guys need to work on, things of that nature. And then
Yeah.
once you guys get to this rival series, then you guys kind of polish things up and kind of just play to the best of your ability and just hope things work out.
Yeah. And that was a lot of what happened in the past. Not talking about the new season that came up.
What's the change that they have at the new season now?
So for RLCS season 10, they decided to do three different splits:
Okay.
fall, winter, and spring. And with these splits, they took away the rival series and they added something called regionals. And there's three regionals per split, so in total 9 regionals. And this brought the scene together like really well.
Okay.
It basically shortened the skill gap between pro players and bubble players because there was 32 teams allowed in RLCS this time instead of your 10 or whatever. And
Okay.
so all these RLCS teams had to play against lower teams, and these lower teams started learning from the RLCS players.
And what's a bubble player? What would you classify that as?
A bubble player is someone who has the potential to make it to pro, but they just haven't broken through the bubble yet, basically. So they're still trying to get to that level,
What's the best way
like,
for a
but
player
they're
to?
close.
What's the best way for a player to do that? Kind of like break through the scene.
Your best bet is grinding with a team that you enjoy playing with and that you feel comfortable with, and just grinding out the game together and you know getting results. That's your best bet
Yeah,
for
just
that case.
basically being in the main stage kind of these tournaments and like of the rival series and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Is it more common for individual players to kind of go, or is it more common for more like teams, like your team, your three people and your coach, obviously, to
I
kind
would
of go?
say I would say a team has more potential than an individual player. You have your individual players who are younger, so say 13, 14, that are really good. So they play a lot of 1v1s and 2v2s. And also they do really good in six men's. And all the pros look at that and they take that opportunity to grow that player as a person and a player,
Okay.
and they take advantage. But again, I would say you're grinding with a team is your best bet, and they usually shine more, the whole team together.
So Rocket League six man, there's different ranks in that, correct?
Yeah.
So what's the ranks in those?
So you have from pro to low, you have rank S, rank X, rank A, rank B plus. So your rank B plus and rank A are your bubble players
Okay.
or like semi pro players. Your rank X and S are your pro players. And then you have your rank B, C, D, E, and F,
And those
which
are
are
just
all just that's just a rank that are people are trying to improve in and just learn the game more.
I got you. So you're saying like kind of like the best way to kind of go from Joe to pro is to kind of work your way through the ranks, not only in six mans but kind of like there's other outlets too. Like I know United Rogue. Have you heard of them before?
Yeah.
There's IGL, a bunch of these other little scenes and stuff like that. I say little, and I just for sake of talk little. Um, but it's just that's kind of like one of the best ways to kind of meet some teammates. So the best thing for you to do is kind of meet some teammates, some good people that you vibe with, and then kind of just jump into six mans and try to improve and work on your game, and maybe meet more people and kind of just improve and work your way through up that way.
Yeah, I would say for sure those leagues are really good for people trying to, just have fun and also improve at the same time.
Okay. So, what's your role on your team right now? You're playing for St. Clair Saints, right? And that's Windsor, Ontario.
Yeah.
That's the St. Clair College.
Yeah.
So what's your role on that team right now?
I would say my role is more of a support role,
Okay.
support slash playmaker. So I'm mainly the guy who's usually third man, usually getting a lot of the saves, I would say, while Jay and Spoods go just kill it on offense and parry me that way. I would say I also, for the playmaking, I would set up a lot of plays, so different types of passing. But we all play it. We all play a good part on the team, and we usually all fill pretty well.
I just realized that we kind of failed to talk about what Rocket League is. So let's kind of bring it back, dial it back just a little bit more. We
Yeah.
are talking about a game called Rocket League. If you guys haven't heard of it, basically, layman's terms, it's car soccer. Okay, that's the best way that everybody kind of describes it. There's a bunch of different, just people get kind of a chuckle out of it. But how would you best describe Rocket League, like to somebody that's never heard of it before?
I mean, the best way to explain it is it's cars playing soccer, three on three. That's the best way to explain it. So if you think of your vehicles outside or whatever, and just literally playing soccer, that's the best way to explain it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like with just the simplicity of Rocket League, as far as like visually, it's so easy for people to kind of jump in and kind of start cheering for blue team or orange team. So if you're like, let's say at a major event or something like that, and somebody's never seen Rocket League before, it's kind of really easy to be like, listen, the blue team has to score the ball in the orange goal, the orange team has to score the ball in the blue goal.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? there is professional teams where people are diehards of it, you know, of their professional teams and stuff, just like football, just like baseball, just like, you know, soccer in general. So I mean, once people start to like, oh my god, this is actually really really exciting, you know what I mean, then they start to kind of dig more deeper and start getting like favorite players and things of that nature too. So so talk to me about your organizations. How did you get to St. Clair?
So I was contacted by a company called Spin, so stay plugged in. I was looking at getting into Collegiate Rocket League this season, not only to pursue like my dream in Rocket League, but also pursue business, which is what I want to do like after Rocket League. So
Okay.
that's down the road.
Yeah,
Um,
it's always good to have a backup plan.
yeah. So they reached out to me. They hooked me up with a few different contacts for different schools, and St. Clair just stood out, just like right off the bat. Not only are they a Canadian school, everyone is nice there that I've talked to. I read their business marketing program and I really enjoyed it. Like it's stuff that's actually going to benefit me for the future, which is rare to find, and
Yeah.
that's something that I'm obviously going to take advantage of.
Did
Um,
did you tour the campus and stuff like that too, or just
um,
virtually?
Virtually. So I'm not moved there yet. I moved there on Sunday, so I'll be able to tour the campus when I get there and everything. So, but virtually, no, the campus actually looks really nice, and we have a esports stadium coming in. I think next year sometime, like after January. I don't know the
Okay.
exact date, but we have a huge esports arena coming in with, I think it's like 60 different PCs with an actual stage.
Oh
So
wow,
you have your like 5-on-5 stage, which is actually gonna be really sick with stands, like so people can watch,
that's
and I'm
cool.
really excited to see that.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's really cool. Especially just to have a crowd, you know, like Rocket League is just that sport. I'm telling you, it's just so easy to kind of just jump in if somebody from college doesn't really understand what it is, and for them to come in and be like, just sit down right there and just watch you guys play and just see how competitive and just feel the energy coming from you guys, you know, because you can actually see your opponent from across the room and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be really really cool to kind of see that in person as well. So but yeah, you said you had a couple different invites in St. Clair just kind of stood out to you, so that's pretty cool as well. Um, so I kind of lost my train of thought. I was gonna ask you a different question about St. Clair and stuff, but I lost it. It's out there in the universe somewhere. So, so
It'll come back later. It'll come
yeah,
back later.
sometime down the
Yeah.
road, it's gonna come back
Yeah.
to me. It's gonna fly back over here. Um, so what other organizations do you kind of work for, or are you associated with, I should say?
Currently, I'm building a roster for just a team outside. I'm associated with Parabellum Esports, so
Okay.
I played in the last 4 regionals with Parabellum Esports, and just they've been nothing but kind and supportive, and it's just been amazing with them so far.
Okay. Um, so what do you think is the most important aspect to have an organization? Do you feel like it kind of helps you stand out more than the average Joe? Do you kind of feel like it, you know, propels you just a tad bit more, um, as in comparison to not having an org?
Yeah, I would say it gives you a lot of motivation, and not only having like that support behind you, but also like again that motivation just helps you pursue Rocket League even more, and you have the backing from an org which like helps you make a dream a reality
Okay.
per se, because like not only is it just with sponsors and everything. I'm losing my train of thought. I lost my train of thought. I'm not gonna lie.
Hey, it happened to me
Yeah,
too. It happens to the
yeah,
best of
yeah,
us.
yeah.
I was gonna ask you. So, did you were you with another org before Parabellum, or did you kind of just like how'd you get with Parabellum? Talk to me about like kind of how it started to where you are now with them.
Yeah, so I was on an org before Parabellum. It was called Mamba Mode Gaming. That's actually the org I qualified to the first RLCS regional with.
Okay.
Some interesting stuff happened with that org. I'm not going to go too deep into it because it's the past, but just some stuff with management, management disappearance and all that. So,
Okay.
and then Llama, the old CEO of Parabellum, reached out to me, and we got into talks when I joined Lemon
Okay.
Puppy and Duru.
Mama Puppy and Daru, your
Yeah,
other counterparts that you guys played in RLCS with, or
yeah.
qualifiers, or was it actual RLCS?
I played in qualifiers with them. We made it one game off in our first regional under Parabellum.
Wow, so
Yeah.
close, man. And how'd you get hooked up with Lemon Puppy and Daru?
They put out a tweet like a while back saying that they're looking for someone who's motivated and willing to grind, and that's something I was looking for. So I just shot a message out to Clavin, who was their manager at the time,
Okay.
and said, I'm looking for what you guys want, motivated, willing to grind, put in like 3-4 scrims a day. Not only not only that, but outside of the team, I'm willing to put in the hours necessary to make it.
Mm-hmm.
And so Clavin's like, yeah, I'll give you a shot, right? So not only were they were scrimming with some other people before, like for trying out,
Mm-hmm.
but I was their top pick for most part. And yeah, we just clicked right off the bat, and it felt really nice.
Like Clavin, you mentioned to him he was the coach for your guys' team, correct?
He was the manager, so he was a manager and sub. I don't think we had a coach ever really. I think
Okay.
we had one coach, Lyle Cow, for a bit, but I don't think we really ever had a coach.
Clavin's playing in Collegiate Esports as well, right? I kind
Yeah,
of follow him. I follow him loosely. Who's he play for?
he plays for University of Michigan.
That's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you guys ever play against each other or anything? Is there any hope for that or?
We did play against each other once in the league play of the summer series.
Awesome.
They almost reverse swept us. We were close. They almost.
Almost doesn't count.
We had to bring it out in the end, you know.
That's awesome. Clavin's a different character, man. He's the type of person. Since we're talking about Clavin, how do you feel about demolitions in Rocket League?
I mean, they're the meta. Like, they're really useful in game because you're taking someone out of the game for, I think it's 2 to 3 seconds. I don't know if it's 2 or 3, but someone's out of the game physically for a few seconds,
Mm-hmm.
and that gives you a big advantage, especially in competitive play, because whether a team has a lot of pressure on you, you can demo one of their guys, and then that pressure is relieved right away because they don't have anyone to follow up on the ball.
Exactly.
So I think they're really useful for Rocket League.
I think they are too. I think they really need to be implemented a lot more. They have such a negative stigma. But like you said, man, it's like psychological warfare. You know, when you get demoed in Rocket League, it kind of just triggers you so hard, and then it starts to affect you mentally, so you can make a mistake even more often. Top of that, when you start to get demoed a lot by somebody, you kind of start to try to get that payback factor on that person as well.
Yeah.
So you start to hunt them down and kind of take yourself out of the offense that your team's kind of set up as well, or maybe even the defense. So I think they're a huge aspect into Rocket League, and I think they really need to be normalized instead of being so negative, you know, because Rocket League is seriously the closest thing you come to a professional sport. There's plays. Yeah. There's you know, I'm not sure if you can talk about some of the plays that you guys kind of do, because for me, from the layman standpoint, but like,
I could talk about some of the plays. Yeah, I could talk about some of them. Is
there certain like names for these plays that you guys are like in comms with, and you guys are like, hey, Oklahoma type thing?
Yeah, we got the Saints special.
What is that?
Know, that's a 0-second goal. That's one of our biggest plays, you know. We got the Saints special, you know, scored at 0 seconds, whether it be we're already winning or we have to tie it up. Or we're already tied and we win with the Saints special. We've actually had a few of those matches, and they're quite common for us. And then we have the Clair Classic. So what the Clair Classic is, you're on a 2v1, you have the guy ahead of you go and demo the guy in net, and you score a free open net. That's what we like to call them. I mean, we have our nice little names for those.
Yeah, once again, incorporating demolitions, you know, into the gameplay there. So that I was always kind of curious, you know, like being in the comm side of things. So I'm on the other side of the spectrum. I'm watching you guys kind of play. So I really don't know what happens in the comms, but I love to hear the things in the back end with the comms and like kind of like the call outs, like I got. You guys are just so immersed into the game. I just kind of wanted to know if there was something like you said, just like some sort of play name that you're like, all right, play 1, play 2, you know what I mean?
I don't think we have any really plays. That's not too common in Rocket League. Usually, if you're down by a lot or something's not working, you have a lot of pressure on you, you would like to change it in the next game because you don't want to overthink mid-game because there's always a chance to come back.
Okay.
So say we go down game 1 in a series and we have a full minute to talk about, okay, what are we going to do in game 2? So if a team has a lot of pressure on us, we're like, okay, we need to pass out of defense instead of just banging and giving it away, right? Mm-hmm. So it's a lot of talking about what we need to change on the next game, like mid game.
Yeah, usually during that time, that minute break that you guys have in between games, I'm kind of talking about the analytical standpoint of things, like seeing what I seen on the field and kind of that coaching aspect of it, and kind of saying like, hey, this is what we need to, this is what this team needs to do more. They need to be more aggressive at the midline and kind of get more control over boost pads and things of that nature, you know. So
Yeah.
that's usually kind of what I'm doing during that time as well. So it's kind of working on both ends of the spectrum. It's really cool to hear about that. Um, so talk about the league that you're playing in right now, and how does it work? I remember we kind of talked a little bit off stream. You were talking about the East and the West, and it sounded a tad bit confusing. And I'm not really too familiar with what
Yeah.
college was it college carball? Is it what it's called? Or
Yeah,
is it
that's a series. Yeah, that's who's hosting what we're playing in currently.
So talk about college carball.
So College Carbell has an East and a West division. We currently play in the East division. So how you would decide your East and West divisions on the map? So it's split in between. Obviously, your East here and West here.
Is this just Canada or is this NA?
This is just NA. So it's
Okay.
Canada and America. It's
Okay.
nothing to do with EU or SAM or anything like that. No
Okay.
other regions. So basically, you have your two different divisions. You have Division 1 and Division 2. To get into these divisions, you play in a qualifier, and you have to make it to, what is it, top, I think it's top 12 to get
Okay.
into Division 1, and then top 24 to get in Division 2. So any team that loses out between 24 and 13, just go to Division 2. They don't have any more chances to make Division 1.
Okay.
And then you have your open series. So your open series are teams that don't make Division 1 or Division 2. And at the end of the year, they have a playoffs. So in these playoffs, you have your top 12 from Division 1, your top 12 from Division 2.
Okay.
And I don't exactly know how many come from open. I think it's 8. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's 8. So then you have
I don't know.
top,
That's why I'm asking
yeah.
you how this works.
Yeah, true. Or anyone in the chat if they would have corrected me. So you have your top 32 now in playoffs. And the advantages of being in Division 1 or 2 is there's a prize pool in the league play.
Okay.
And at the end of the season, you play for the top seeds. So you have your first to 12. So everyone plays each other once, and the person with the best record goes first, and then so on to the worst team with the worst record. And going into playoffs, you have it seeded. So obviously your top 4 teams are played in like the later rounds. So you start off from like round 8. So we started off from round 8, and then like mid 4 from Div 1 play in round 7, and then so on. So you have your round.
See, this is the confusing part now. Now you're starting. Yeah.
Yeah, it is confusing. Like anyone looks at it, it's super hard to explain as well. Like anyone looks at it, it's just a huge bracket with just a bunch of different like places in there. So the best way to put it, I would say, is going into these divisions, Division 1 and 2, they give you a better placement for the playoffs.
Okay. That makes a lot more. Yeah, that makes sense. That's more of a layman's term breakdown instead of the analytical breakdown that you're kind of getting into.
Yeah. And then your people from the open, obviously, they start from round 1. So everyone from the open starts in round 1.
Yeah. So they have to battle their way through, basically, through tier 2 and Div 2, Div 1.
All the way up to round 8, which one team did, Stockton University. They ended up making all the way to the winners final, to grand finals, actually. Wow. Yeah.
Classic underdog story. You'll love it.
Yeah.
Somebody in chat says top 8 from open make playoffs as a wild card. So that makes a lot more sense as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's if you looked at it, it's just this huge bracket that looks super confusing, and it's super hard to like understand unless you're sitting there doing a lot of research on it.
Yeah, like every tournament in my life ever, like every bracket that you ever look at is just so confusing.
Yeah.
It's so confusing, like, and they'll put numbers on there and then like something in parentheses like winner of the blah 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 plays this. It's just like it's so confusing. Like there has to be a simpler way to kind of organize stuff. I don't know. Maybe we should invent this. We should invent this too.
invent a new type of tournament format, right?
Yeah, copyright, trademark. Me and Kyle. Oh man. All right, so I have a kind of a question for you. I want to know like who your favorite professional organization is.
My favorite?
Yeah.
I'd honestly say FaZe. I
Okay.
mean, they
Even though
seem
they
like,
really don't have a Rocket League team, they kind of just came onto the scene this year.
yeah.
So FaZe is your favorite org in general?
Yeah, I would say because just in the past and everything with Call of Duty, FaZe has always been, top of everything.
Yeah.
Like, and like, not only do they have a gaming side, they also have like a content side outside of it, and it just seems really cool.
I would really feel like Optic have a lot of responses. Optic fans would have a lot of responses for you about the whole
I was an
content.
Optic fan back in the day, okay, but
Hey,
then Optic decided to disappear.
hey, they came back. They came back with a vengeance. I think it was what's his name, Hector, the org
Yeah,
owner in that
Hex.
one. He had a lot of
Yeah,
things going on over there.
yeah,
But I grew up thinking that all those trick shots were actually real, and I swear to this day that they were real. And then when I
yeah,
grew up, I kind of figured out like it was all staged and set up and stuff like that. So it kind of took a lot away,
yeah.
from the kind of like the clips and stuff in general. But at the same time, it was great content when you're looking at it and stuff like that too. So it sets up what we have now for content creators.
Yeah,
Speaking
it's
of,
really come a long way.
yeah, a long way, especially with TikTok and stuff like that. By the
Oh
way,
yeah, 100%.
TikTok, Mr. Comp over here flexing 18.4K on TikTok, dude. Congratulations on that.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Any
I had one blow up video. I've had a couple actually.
this is one blow up video. Look at him just being so humble over here. I appreciate it, man. Which kind of leads me into my next kind of piece here. What do you say to the person that's trying to be find an organization for one, the kid that's kind of listening to this podcast? What kind of advice do you have for that person as far as content creation?
Just always creating new content. Always staying on the grind. So if you want to stream a lot, build off of TikTok and Twitter into your stream. So don't only stream every day, but then not proceed with TikTok or Twitter, because those what will feed like into your Twitch. So TikTok is probably the best way to start, honestly, I would say, because it's so easy to blow up on there. Just you could have one lucky break and next day you have 100,000 followers, right?
Yeah.
Like I've known some people that actually have had that happen, right? And what they did with that is they fed it into their Twitch. So they would stream and then promote it through TikTok or Twitter, whatever they blew up on.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the best way to, start your content, especially with this day and age. I would say maybe back in the day, it's YouTube. I think YouTube still, YouTube is still good to continue with.
Oh, for sure.
If Twitch is your main thing you want to stream on and like content create on, and then feed it from other platforms.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of have to, it's kind of like diversifying your portfolio, like a business standpoint, you're kind of, you don't have all your eggs in one basket. You're kind of trying to, you put some stuff out here, you put some stuff out there, and eventually something's going to get a bite, and you have that one video that's going to blow up and kind of generate some sort of followage from that, maybe get some people into your chat as well. That's why I always try to tell people that too, it's a lot more than just sitting down and actually streaming. You have to create content for it, whether it be the fake content that we were just talking about with the Optic trick shots or the FaZe trick shots or whatever. You kind of have to have that kind of content out there working for you when you're not streaming. You know what I mean? So that's why I think people have the stigma of just streaming in general, where you kind of just, I'm just sitting there playing a video game. People are going to come to my chat, because Twitch just doesn't work that way.
Nope. Not with the algorithm it has.
Yeah, exactly.
It has the top people on the top and lower people on the bottom. So.
Yeah, I mean, you can filter that too if you really wanted to, but at the same time, then you have the people with one viewer that's kind of, and if you have 5, 6, 7, 8 people in your chat, then you're kind of stuck in the middle once again. So
yeah, for sure.
So let's take it back just a tad bit. Actually, I think this might be a good time for a break. What do you feel like? You need to get some water in your system?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, then I think we should just run a little.
I'll follow your lead.
We'll run a little break real quick. See, look, I'm getting tongue tied. I need some water in my life. We're gonna run a quick break real quick. Give us about 5 minutes to kind of run to the bathroom. I think Comp's DoorDash is here or something like that as well, and run to get some water and things of that nature. So give us about 5 minutes, guys. We'll be right back. right, everybody, welcome back to the podcast. This is the Point North podcast where we sit down and talk to professional players in their certain sport or video game that they like to play. My guest right now is Comp. He's a professional Rocket League player. He plays for Parabellum Esports as well as right now currently playing for St. Clair Saints, and that's St. Clair College over in Windsor, Ontario, Canada. Comp, welcome back from the break. I'm glad that you kind of hurried back. You're a little sweaty on the forehead there. No, I'm just
Yeah, I
playing
had
with
to run. I had to run. Like, I was all the way downstairs, had to book it, you know?
you. I'm just playing with you, brother. So this man right here, his name is Comp, okay? He has tweeted the same exact tweet 161 days in a row now. We kind of led with that with this introduction. But this tweet is, and I quote, Day 161 of asking Rocket League at RL Esports to add an option for coaches to spectate their teams. Okay, it says check pin for details.
Yep.
So, do you want me to read the pinned tweet on your thing, or do you want to kind of dive into that right now?
I can dive into it.
Okay, so explain to me what this is and what you're asking for.
So, basically, I'm asking for... Or I guess we'll explain the pin tweet. So what I want for Rocket League to do is add an option for a blue side and an orange side where a coach could go into the lobby, click the coach option or the spectator option for that color, and they can only see their team's point of view. So the 3 players on the team, they can't go into director cam, they can't fly around, they can't see the other team's boost or their POV. And the reason why I'm wanting it to be like that is so there's no excuse for, okay, coaches are going to tell their team the other team's boost and like the different type of strategy that they're working on and they're playing again.
Yeah,
so
it makes sense. I mean, especially when you break it down like that, because initially when you first started this campaign, that was one of the biggest things that a lot of people were complaining about was the coaches being able to see the opposite team's boost, being able to fly around kind of freely as well. So you kind of changed it up just a tad bit to kind of make it more fair. But what's the advantage of the coach actually being able to be in the spectating mode with them instead of kind of like over your shoulder or watching through a stream? Or how does that work now? What do the coaches do now?
Well, what they do now is they're supposed to be watching through the Twitch, so they get that. Not only do they get that delay, but just even the comms are delayed. So your own team is like communicating, and the coaches can't really see it real time, and that's a huge problem in the esports scene because you don't have outside in like basketball or soccer, you don't have your coach watching from a screen up in a room away from your actual team.
Yeah.
And I think it's super unfair for coaches, and it defeats the purpose of like the esports scene and the competitiveness.
Yeah, it definitely makes it a lot harder, but it kind of brings it back to like full circle. Like, no, this weird's kind of been a little bit this year has been a little bit weird because of COVID and Corona and things of that nature. I know it's the same thing, but people call it different things. But so you kind of, in a LAN setting, your coach is right there over your shoulder kind of directing things. So that's what you're kind of asking for to do on this esports side of things. Now, because of the fact that a lot of things have turned to more being at your home in your environment type thing, or being at the LAN center with your friends or whatever, or your teammates, I should say. So you're asking for that option right now for Rocket League. Right now there's only 10 people allowed inside of a lobby, correct? Like that's the amount. So from the RLCS spec, like kind of you played in that scene, I should say. So how many people are in that lobby right now? Is there room for more people, or do they have to add more slots for that?
If you're not on stream, there's one person, so they have their admin in there. If you are on stream, you have the admin plus I think there's 3 different like producers. You have the 2 casters and the like producer cam for what's actually showing on stream.
So there's a total of 9 people in there then?
10.
At one point, 10 people. So they definitely need to add 2 more spots basically for 1 blue captain or coach and 1 orange coach as well.
Yeah, and I think a big problem with that is they're on Unreal Engine 3, so that's the engine Rocket League runs off of.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's talks that they can't add it or something, but that was never official from any Psionics person, so I don't know what the problem is there.
I actually just read an article, and it was one of my questions, so we can kind of segue into that one, that they are talking about bringing it up to Unreal Engine 5. So
Yeah,
how do you feel about that?
I'm excited for it because it's a huge change for Rocket League, and we need a change in Rocket League. We haven't had one in a very long time.
Yep.
We've had the same old, same old. They come in with just new cosmetics, but nothing new changed to the actual game. So it's
Yeah.
actually going to be huge. Not only will it better the physics, so you won't have all your rubber bands and lag, and it has better optimization. And what
Yeah.
also comes with Unreal Engine 5 is more features outside of the competitive part. So you can add like your workshop maps, your custom maps. You can actually do more with friends instead of having to use something called Hamachi and Backgaze mod. So
Yeah.
it's actually really exciting that they're going to be introducing Unreal Engine 5.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's gonna be really, really good for the Rocket League community as well. It's gonna improve it, like you said, performance-wise, graphics-wise as well. It's to kind of add just a lot more cleanliness to the game as well. It's gonna
Yeah.
clean up, like you said, a lot of those rubber band issues that the Rocket League game has. So what we're talking about with the rubber band issue is on one screen, it would show me hitting the ball, but on your screen, it will basically show you me missing the ball, and that kind of sometimes results in a goal, results in a misread, a whiff, things of that nature. So it's going to clean up a lot of
Yeah.
that stuff, and it's going to be really, really good for the competitive nature for Rocket League. I really feel like too. So I did, like I said, I did hear that it's not officially released, but there was some sort of like leak that somebody was trying to like hire, or Psyonix or Epic Games was trying to hire somebody to kind of start converting those files or something of that nature. So that was the article that
It's
I read.
official.
Oh, is it official?
On Reddit, a Psyonix employee actually said, because they accidentally put out a job, like they put out a
Yeah,
job offer to people that
maybe
said
that's.
Unreal Engine 5, and
Mm-hmm.
then on Reddit, because it blew up on Reddit, a Psyonix employee actually had to come in, and they ended up confirming it.
Oh wow.
There's no date on when it can come in, so it could be a week, it could be a month, it could be a year or two from now. So no one actually knows when it will be created.
Okay, awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I said, I did read the article. I wasn't sure if it was confirmed or not, but I did see the job listing like you're talking about. So it's probably the same thing that you're talking about on Reddit.
Yeah.
Um. So why do you think? Let's talk about the Rocket League collegiate scene. Are you happy with like the way the Rocket League collegiate scene is right now?
Yeah, for sure. I'm happy. It's growing. It's growing rapidly.
I can
Because
agree with you
if
on
you
that
look at
one.
it from a year or two ago, it wasn't as big as it is today. Like 2 years ago, it was getting maybe 100 viewers on Twitch. The prize pools was smaller.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was like $10,000 prize pools, and I don't know what the fall was. I think it was in 3 digits or something. I think it was like a total throughout all of collegiate events throughout last year. It was 600,000 plus or something.
Okay. Uh,
So
I was gonna say. So, what makes you so happy about the collegiate scene? Like, is it? In my personal opinion, I'm gonna answer first, real quick. Um, RLCS is really cool. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like at the collegiate level, you're in so much more in touch with like your fans because it's such a smaller base right now. So I
yeah.
feel like, it's so much more cool to play for that and see your fans and the same reoccurring people in your chat as well. So what's your answer to this one?
Yeah, no, it's really exciting because not only do you have your RLCS, but with CRL, your family even gets involved. Like my family never touched Rocket League in their life; they're always against it. Never really liked it until I told them about the CRL scene, and they've actually been watching all my tournaments. And my dad's even playing the actual game, so
Oh wow.
it's a lot different from RLCS for even just a family fan base too.
How long has your dad been playing the game?
I think he's been playing for like a week, maybe. He's been grinding. He's been grinding. I think he's like level 40 or something already.
Oh
Like
jeez.
he's been going hard.
Does he like talk about you like about his like to his friends or like family and
Maybe
stuff
I
like
have no
that?
clue. I have no clue on that. I
You should
think some
ask
of
him,
his
man.
coworkers. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think some of his coworkers, but yeah,
Like you guys are at, like the family barbecue, and he's like nudging your uncle, like, "Hey, Comp is playing for St. Clair University. I mean, like St. Clair
yeah.
College.
One of his coworkers actually just swung by the other day. They were doing a road trip and they watched my Olympics run, and the kid
Oh,
and this was like a month or two ago, and his kid actually like is a huge fan, and I got to show him some like cool things and everything, and like I got him hooked on the Rocket League. So that's cool that I'm also inspiring people to play Rocket League.
Yeah, that's really cool. Did you like sign a controller and give it to him, or?
No.
I would have.
He plays on Nintendo Switch. Okay.
Hey, I would have signed his Switch for him. Sign his forehead or something, dude. Made him a lifelong fan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man. So you've been in the pro scene, for quite some time now. You've been in the collegiate scene for quite some time now. But let's talk about some of the obstacles that you kind of had to go through. What are some of the setbacks that you had to go through, and how did you overcome them?
There's been a decent amount of obstacles. So I would say the biggest one is it was my parents to start off with.
Okay.
Because they grew up not believing in like video games. You could make a career out of it or anything, and it was just okay. Go to school, get a 9 to 5 job, and just do that for the rest of your life, right?
Yeah.
But so ended up like our relationship got kind of tarnished with that.
Ooh.
But luckily it's built now. It's way better now, like 100%. Like they're full supportive and everything. They've always supported me with whatever I wanted to do, but Rocket League and video games had a little like kind of setback.
Yeah, it has that
aspect.
negative stigma,
Yeah.
man. I mean, me and Penguin, our last guest, kind of talked about that as well. So it's cool that your parents are supportive now, but you had to work to kind of get to that point. And
Yeah.
that's so true with so many parents right now. That's just their generation, that they believe that you have to go to school, you have to complete college. There's an esports and playing video games in general are just a waste of time. So now it's like a multi-million, correct me if I'm wrong, but billion probably business, where these guys are getting hired on and making monthly incomes and things of that nature. So and not only that, but winning tournaments and stuff like that generate revenue and get money from that as well. So now they're starting to kind of see, oh man, there is money and there is a career in this. So I really feel like, I know a lot of people hate the game, but I really feel like Fortnite kind of blew everything up. It just came out.
Fortnite had a big part to play in it with its $100 million prize pool, and then it was also super kid friendly.
Yeah. And they've seen somebody like Booga, who won the solo, Fortnite Invitational or whatever, won like what, $3 million or something crazy.
Yeah, and a lot of parents probably saw that all over their social media.
Yeah, so
like I understand where my parents are coming from though, because where they grew up, this was not a thing at all. They had their Game Boy or whatever. I don't even know, there was not all this technology back then.
Yeah,
and they grew up learning from their parents as well, and their parents. I don't even think internet was a thing back then. Right? So.
How old are
their
your
parents were growing up? No, not my parents. Their parents.
I was gonna say, bro, you're roasting your parents right now, dude.
No. My parents are younger for how old I am.
Okay.
They're like almost 40, and I'm 20, so.
Okay.
So they're younger. Yeah.
But
I totally
there,
see
dude.
where they're coming from, because the whole esports thing and making a career out of it is so new. Like maybe 6-7 years ago, people started actually, like, some people got really lucky.
I would probably agree with that, but I really feel like Fortnite kind of propelled everything as far as esports.
Yeah.
Like, so I would say probably 3, 4, 5 years ago tops.
Yeah. Fortnite had a huge part to play, 100%.
Yeah, and then now with COVID, everybody kind of staying at home for a whole entire year. I know it's kind of rough for you guys up in Canada, but here in the States, everybody kind of being on pause for about a year kind of forced people to be more technological, you know what I mean? So they kind of started doing everything as far as Zoom meetings and, classrooms and just everything. So it kind of brought all the generations online. So I really feel like they're starting to understand a little bit more that things can be done online now. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's really cool, man.
Technology is just growing rapidly at this point.
Yeah. So I mean, continue with your story there. Like, something you had to overcome. It was just your parents, and it's really cool that they're super supportive of you now. It kind of sucks that they weren't at first, but it's really cool to hear that they're super supportive of you now.
Yeah, I guess other factors are mentality when it comes down to it. So like when I was younger, I would say like 15, 16, like you're stuck in a loop where, like, obviously you're going through puberty and stuff, and you start to think, okay, is this game gonna, like, is it worth it for me? Like, where do I see myself in 5 years from now or whatever? So you start to be like, okay, I want to, like, quit this game, whatever, like, it's ruining my life type deal.
Okay.
And that's another big obstacle that I think not only me, but a lot of people have to deal with. And it only makes you better.
I mean, it's the same thing when it comes to professional sports, though, too. If you're trying to pursue football, hockey, baseball, whatever it is, there's sacrifices that has to be made, and you have to really kind of sit down and, like you have a good head on your shoulders because you have that other plan. You have the business aspect of it.
Yeah.
You want to go to college for business. So you understand that this is such a tough career to get into, and you understand that on top of all that you have to at one point in time kind of retire from it too. So you have to have a fallback plan.
Yeah.
So it's really good to see somebody of your, like you said, mentality, being such a young kid, kind of had that realization early instead of kind of being naive and kind of like, oh, I'm gonna do this for the rest of my life, I'm gonna make so much money off of it, because that's just not true. You don't make that much money off of it. It's literally a gamble.
You have to work super hard to get there, and a lot of people take that for granted. Like a lot of younger kids see all these like older people, like even like 24, 25, like they're from like COD or whatever, they're making a big living off of esports. They think, oh, it's super easy, they did it, but the work that had to go behind it, like the years before that, because you don't see the beginning part of people. You only see where they are now, like when they're like higher up, right? So
I totally agree with you on that one, man. The grind behind the scenes is what I like to call it. You know what I mean? And that's why I like to kind of shed light on the the stuff that you kind of have to do to kind of get there. And that's what this podcast is about. From start to finish, like not finish, but from start to where you are now in the esports scene, and how much it actually really, really takes to get there. So
and believing in yourself, trusting yourself, because you'll have your parents to support you, but at the end of the day, you also have yourself, and yourself is what's going to get you further.
Yeah, I mean, not only that too, but listening to the right people as well. There's so many people out there that are just kind of talk a big game, and they have nothing to really back it up. So you kind of have to listen to that internal voice of yourself and kind of be like, I don't really fully believe what this guy's telling me. They're just trying to use me type thing. Have you came across
100%.
people like that before in esports?
There's those, I think the best way to put it, like delusional people that they always know what they're talking about, and you're like, okay, where's the proof of what you're telling me? Like, have you done it or whatever? It's just stuff that they think is what you need to do.
Yeah.
But you can tell if someone's like, if they're knowledgeable or not, by also doing some research yourself on them.
Yeah.
Getting that proof.
Yeah, it's just so crazy to kind of like try to weed those people out, though. Like I said, it's kind of harder, but you just have to kind of
younger, especially if you're younger.
Yeah. Some people can be wasting time on certain people or organizations or whatever because they're promising you certain things or whatever. So you kind of have to, ask your parents, ask your friends, maybe people inside the organization themselves, like kind of what they're dealing with, and kind of use your best judgment on that one.
Yeah.
So if there's one thing about esports that you would like to change, what would it be?
It's a good question. I never really thought of that because I've only been like, okay, just grind, right? Just practice. I think for Rocket League is growing it more. So Psionics did do a good job in the past, but I think now they've slowed down a bit. So you have those top 10, top 12 teams that are able to make a living off this game, right?
Yeah.
But like opening it up more to like adding more prize pool money, like kind of like R6 is doing. I think it's 30% of their sales for they had an event going on for, what was it? Do you know?
No, I'm not 100% sure.
For when they had their worlds, they were selling stuff, and then they put 30% of that into a prize pool and let it go up to like 3 million max.
Okay.
I think if Rocket League did something like that, and I think an esports, whoever like can create it, like keep a living off of it, will keep it alive, right? The more people that can have a living off of an esport, like the more the esport will stay alive. If that makes sense. Kind of screwed up my wording a little bit there.
I mean, it makes sense, but it just comes down to like I guess the breakdown and the funneling of money and like how much certain orgs have. It's just so everybody gets a little piece of the pie, so it's worth it to them. So like you said, they can make a little bit of money off of it, just enough to get by and make it worth it, make the grind worth it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I had another question, kind of flew away as well, so we're gonna go ahead. It literally
we need a counter for that. We need a counter.
Yeah, that's 2 so far.
That's 2.
So I mean, it was such a good question because pertaining to what you were saying about the whole money aspect of esports and stuff like that. Oh, that's what it was. Do you feel like it's easier? I'm not trying to say easier. Take that very, very lightly when I say easier. But do you feel like Rocket League is that kind of game to kind of easily break through, like a no name team or three no name guys can just, or girls can just kind of come through and make it like that Cinderella story, kind of the underdog story? Do you feel like Rocket League is it's an easier game to do that than, let's say, Call of Duty, or let's say CS:GO, or let's say Rainbow Six?
Yeah, I would say it's a little bit easier than most esports because of the you need all three players playing like at their highest skill. And if you have all three players on one team playing really bad one day and you're playing against a higher team to qualify, that lower team can upset that higher team
Yeah,
and make it and then grow. And then not only do they get higher scrims, they also have the experience of playing in a bigger tournament, right?
yeah,
So I would say because it depends on how the teams are playing on the day of, because and that's a big thing with Rocket League is you have your consistency. The more consistent team will always be the better team.
yeah. And that's exactly true when it comes to just any sport in general. It just depends on if you take your opponents lightly. Like some of these big ranked teams can sometimes take that. Oh, these guys are no name, no org, whatever, and we're going to take them lightly, and then all of a sudden you're in a reverse sweep situation, or even just lose to that team in general.
Yeah.
So I mean, I know for a couple of times in college, or not college, but in high school, we were a really bad football team. I mean, I'm talking like maybe won a couple games every few years. Bad
Oh,
football team.
jeez. Yeah.
And we came in and just kind of, it didn't match what our records were. You know what I mean? We
Yeah.
were such a really, really good team together, but the teams were just that much better. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hmm.
So it just depends on who wants to play that day, and if you guys are taking your team lightly or not. So
Yeah. And that's a big thing I would say is a lot of teams, like higher teams, will take a team that they never heard of super like lightly. They won't really focus and they'll end up getting upset by them. So
okay. So let's talk a little bit about your TikTok, and your social media just in general. So how has that affected your Rocket League career? Has it affected it at all, or
yeah, I would say social media is huge for if you're trying to get into esports as well, because not only do you get like more followers and stuff, you become more relevant, and that's what you want to do to get better teams to get noticed. You want to become more relevant on the Rocket League scene, and a lot
okay?
of people do that from social media. So I guess the TikTok aspect of my social media came from when I first qualified for RLCS. I had a huge clip that popped off of me just screaming. It's a clip to watch, right? Just me just screaming, "Oh, we made RLCS!" and just it was super hype, and a lot of people. That's a lot of people's dream, so that's why it popped off so much, because everyone wants to live in that moment, and
Yeah,
that was like a dream come true. Like it felt like I was living in a dream that day.
that was your
And
Justin NRG. This is Rocket League type moment.
yeah, yeah. And so that's what started it. And then just kept up with my content and some other clips started to pop up and that's how I grew my TikTok. When it came to Twitter aspect, I've been on Twitter for a few years now and I've just been slowly growing that. The more tournaments you win, the more like the better organizations you join, the more followers you'll gain.
Yeah,
So
it's not necessarily about the clips you post on TikTok. It's I mean, not TikTok, but Twitter. You can get that kind of growth on TikTok with clips rather than on Twitter and stuff with
yeah.
clips. So h- how often do you stream?
Recently, like zero to none. Like I've been super busy, not only with Collegiate, but just also hanging out with my family for the past couple months because
But
I'm about to leave soon and everything.
you still post like TikTok clips and stuff like that daily, or I mean,
Sometimes,
okay.
no.
You wouldn't say you wouldn't say daily, but like how often do you post TikTok clips then, or when you were in that grind still? How often were you posting those?
I was posting like once a day, twice a day. I mean, not just once a day, maybe once every 2 days when I was in that grind. I'm gonna be getting more back on the streaming grind. I've been
Yeah.
meaning to do that. I haven't been really too kept up, but the Twitter grind's been going, so that's one grind I've been keeping up with.
Okay.
Um, but yeah,
All right. So we do have a one question out here in the stream. It's from Toronto fan 34, and he wants to know: are you looking forward to playing in front of fans this September?
oh yeah, 100%. That's always been a dream of mine, right? Just I love that pressure that you have on you of people just watching you, right? It feels so good to win at that point. and just makes me play better. I just thrive in that situation, and just meeting everyone's going to be really cool. And yeah, it's just like a dream come true. So I'm really excited for it.
Awesome. Who's one person you're grateful that you had the opportunity to connect with in esports?
I think a guy named Subin. So he was the coach for E United. He
Okay.
really helped me get more into the esports scene. He gave me my first opportunity for a team. So it's him and a guy named Yuri44 who ended up retiring. But he really showed me like the roots of mentality and how to be a smarter player in the actual game. And I think he's really progressed me to the player I am today, because I'm more of a use your brain type of player instead of just go around and try and be all fancy.
Yeah.
So he's helped me with that a lot.
There's a type or a time and place for, I guess, the flair, as well, I like to call it,
Yeah.
where people kind of like to flex on like your car control or try to hit that quadruple flip reset, or musty flicks or whatever, any move in Rocket League essentially. So there's a time and place for that, and I feel like a lot of players sometimes just try to get that clip at the wrong time. So he
100%.
kind of taught you how to do that and kind of separate the two from one another.
Yeah.
All right, so final question. This is a question that we like to end on here. If you can give advice to someone starting in esports, what would it be?
Stay positive, stay humble, don't have a huge ego. Take advice, like be open to every opportunity to advice that you get, because that's only what's going to grow you in the future. And just keep your grind going, right? Like if you want to learn something, sit there and learn it until you're able to do it. There's nothing stopping you, and it's just the best thing to do.
Yeah,
Stay humble. Stay humble.
I was gonna say, whatever you want to learn, there's some way that you can kind of learn it by yourself if you can't reach out to a person directly, whether it be Rocket League or editing, just whatever it takes in the esports scene. There's always someone that's kind of done it and made a tutorial about it, how to do it. So YouTube's kind of like my best friend when it comes to the streaming side of stuff. So that's my advice. Go to YouTube, try to figure it out. So. All right, Comp, I'd like to thank you for your time, man. I know you're a busy person. You have
all right, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Huge trek, across country over there. You were talking like, how many miles was it, or kilometers? I'm sorry.
Kilometers, almost like 4,000. That's a lot of kilometers.
That's ridiculous. Long move. That's why you're spending so much time with your family, man. Enjoy that time with your family. Like you said before, we only live once, so it's such a far move that you're gonna be rarely ever be able to see them type thing. So enjoy that. Hope you have a safe travel as well. I love keep a close eye on you, watching you on the St. Clair College Carball series. I'd love to see you. And you guys are playing, right? You guys won the East Division. Is that correct?
We did. We won the East.
So now you guys are playing in the what? What's the next
We're
step?
in the championship. So the top 4 from the East and the top 4 from the West play each other in a single elimination bracket on September 4th.
Awesome. So September 4th, you can see Comp. Any other things you want to shout out, Comp? What's your TikTok? Everything else?
At CompRL, pretty much everything. Twitter, at @comp_RL. Also like to shout out everyone from St. Clair, especially Mike. Mike's been super helpful to my success on the Saints so far, and excited for the future with them.
Awesome, man. Once again, my name is Whoopsyou. You can find me at Whoopsyou Gaming on Twitter. You can find me at Whoopsyou on Twitch. So if you guys want to keep in touch with me, those are the 2 ways you can kind of do that. I'm really responsive on Instagram as well. I believe that's Whoopsyou Gaming as well. So I'd like to thank one of our sponsors, Corsair. And I'd like to encourage you guys to please hit that follow button on the Endshield Academy. There's that Corsair mouse right there from Comp. Please hit that follow button right here on the Endshield Academy. And if you guys want to stay up to date with more Pro Talk, this Point North podcast, then you guys will have weekly episodes right here at Endshield Academy. Make sure you guys subscribe to us on YouTube as well. And Comp, one more thing. I did see on your link tree, you do have coaching sessions. Is that correct? Or is that kind of taking a backseat?
I do have coaching sessions, but it's limited.
Okay. So yeah, if you want to have some coaching sessions from our lovely man Comp right here, go ahead and go to his Twitter, and that is at @comp_RL, and he has a link tree, and from that link tree you can go ahead and book a coaching session with Comp. So Once again, thank you to our sponsors, Corsair, and make sure you guys follow us at Endshield Academy on YouTube. Like and subscribe over there. I'm Whoopsyou, and I'll see you guys next week on the Point North podcast.